This week, an explosive device is found in a car in East Harlem. Plus, a pair of shootings within a few blocks and just minutes apart leave 2 men dead. And
I'm gonna be a ugly duckling for a while.
A woman has to defend herself from a random attack. Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. Here are the crimes across the 5 boroughs. We begin in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, where a man has been arrested after 2 young kids and 2 women were stabbed to death inside a home Friday night.
A man is in custody tonight after 2 adults and 2 children were found stabbed to death in Brooklyn. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini talked with people who heard the cries for help.
Detectives spent the day in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, looking for evidence and talking to people who live in this building and in the area of Avenue P and West 8th Street. After the NYPD confirms 4 people, including 2 children, were found dead in an apartment.
I'm still a little shocked about this.
Juan Perez lives across from the building. The NYPD was called to 1590 West 8th Street just after 10:15 p.m. last night. The initial 911 call, according to police, was about an assault in progress.
I just saw all the cops pulling up last night and I heard somebody screaming, so I had a feeling that, something bad happened.
Police say a man arrived home to find his mother with multiple stab wounds to her neck. And after officers arrived, they found the bodies of that man's wife and children, also in the same apartment where they all lived together.
The father was screaming out here. The father found the family deceased.
A 24-year-old man has been taken into custody in connection to the incident. According to the NYPD, he's related to the family. The 2 female victims are his mother and his sister-in-law. The 2 children are his niece and nephew, and it was his brother who initially discovered something was terribly wrong.
You don't really hear about this every day, especially this close.
This is horrible.
As people from the area are reacting, questions remain. Detectives are working to find out exactly what happened. The victims are identified by police as 56-year-old Mavdiva Mavliuda, 27-year-old Maftuna Kakimova, 5-year-old Kamila Shavkatova, and 4-year-old Timur Shavkatova.
We now go to East Harlem, where police say a domestic dispute led to a homemade, potentially viable improvised explosive device being discovered inside a car.
To East Harlem now, where police say a fight between 2 cousins led to a disturbing discovery.
A homemade, potentially viable explosive device. All this going down in front of a police precinct. That's where we find Fox 5's Linda Schmidt with the very latest. Linda?
Yeah, first of all, good evening to both of you. And it happened right here in East Harlem in front of the 25th precinct. Now, as you both were just saying, police telling us it was 2 cousins. They're both 50 years old. They got into a domestic dispute. The next thing you know, one of them is telling police officers in front of the precinct that they have a machete in the car, as well as an explosive device. The NYPD's bomb squad called in after a suspected explosive device, a pipe bomb, was found in a car on 119th Street at Park Avenue, right in front of the 25th precinct. Monica lives across the street.
When I came out, they told me that I had to go back in the building.
If it functioned, it was able to function as designed. What we would say in my parlance is it was capable of causing death or serious physical injury to anyone in proximity and property damage.
The NYPD says it was shortly before noon when 2 cousins, both of them 50 years old, were in this car driving past the police precinct when the driver told officers that his cousin hit him in the head with a machete inside the car. But that apparently was not the worst of it.
The victim indicated that inside the vehicle was an explosive device.
The bomb squad transporting the device to the NYPD's facility in Rodman's Neck in the Bronx to determine if it was a fully functioning pipe bomb. Police are searching the suspect's home to check for other possible devices. They say he appears to have mental health issues.
The person who was in possession of the device had potential emotional issues. That's what it looks like to us at this time. And we don't have any reason to believe that he was headed anywhere specifically. And because of some other information we have, he seems to be rambling on about incoherent ideas and paranoias and things like that.
Now, as of right now, both of those suspects remain here in custody at the 25 precinct. And as for whether or not that pipe bomb was actually a real pipe bomb, we still don't know at this point. Police are still doing their assessment of that in the Bronx.
Back in Brooklyn, a pair of shootings just minutes apart left 2 men dead and another injured.
Well, a pair of shootings in Brooklyn near a migrant shelter killed 2 men and left 1 man in critical condition.
Very serious situation. Good day's Briella Tomasetti is outside the shelter in Clinton Hill with the latest on this investigation, and it looks like these shootings are related, Briella.
Yeah, Dan and Tashani, good morning to both of you. Certainly a scary situation for anyone involved or anybody who witnessed this. According to the Brooklyn Reader, this migrant shelter adjacent to us opened back in April and has the capacity to house as many as 765 adult migrants. This morning, though, it is the focus of a shooting investigation and still very much an active crime scene. It appears that police are still questioning people in the area. They have evidence markers behind this crime scene tape, and the motive behind the deadly pair of shootings, well, that remains unclear at this point. 2 people are dead and another critically injured in a pair of shootings at a park and a migrant shelter in Brooklyn. The first happened just before 10:45 last night at Steuben Playground, located at the intersection of Flushing Avenue and Steuben Street. When cops arrived on scene, they found a man in his 30s who was shot in the chest. He was rushed to Methodist Hospital, where he died from his injuries. Gunfire rang out again less than 10 minutes later, only a few blocks away. According to police, the second shooting happened outside a migrant shelter on Ryerson Street. They say a man in his 40s was shot in the head and pronounced dead at the hospital. Another man in his 30s was shot multiple times in the body. Investigators tell us he's in stable condition. Police believe the 2 shootings are related. They had no immediate description of any suspects, but this video shows officers surrounding a man on the ground who appears to be injured. Investigators did say they're looking into whether a scooter-riding gunman was struck by a car while taking off near Taft Place and Park Avenue.
And this is an everyday thing. I get off the same time every night from work and walk through the same path, and it's like this from daytime to nighttime.
Carter, a security guard who works in the area, told reporters the playground where the initial shooting happened is littered with food, clothing, mattresses, single men, and families.
They don't got nowhere to really go. I don't know if the shelter's overpacked because everywhere is crowded out here.
According to the latest NYPD crime statistics, shooting incidents decreased in the 88th precinct year to date from 6 to 2. Shooting victims, on the other hand, went down from 7 to 3, not including these latest victims of gun violence. Now, law enforcement sources tell the New York Post that all of the victims, all 3, 2 that have died and the other who is critically injured, are migrants. No arrests have yet been made.
We return to East Harlem, where the NYPD is on the hunt for a pair of suspects accused of raping a 12-year-old girl.
And new tonight, police are asking for the public's help in identifying these individuals. They want to question them about a sexual assault of a 12-year-old girl. It happened in East Harlem last night after 6:30. Both suspects ran away from the scene. The girl was taken to the hospital in stable condition.
Up in the Mott Haven section of the Bronx, 2 men are hospitalized after a shooting.
And we're following breaking news in the Bronx. 2 men have been shot at East 145th Street and 3rd Avenue in Mott Haven. It happened a little after 3:30 this afternoon. Both of the men, a 67-year-old and an 18-year-old, were hit in the leg and hospitalized in stable condition. There was also damage to an MTA bus from this shootout. Police are still looking for who's responsible.
Over in Sunnyside, Queens, a 29-year-old man has been arrested and charged in connection to a fatal hit-and-run accident that left a 16-year-old girl dead and injured her 8-year-old sister last month.
In Queens, a man was arrested for allegedly killing a teenage girl and injuring another in a hit-and-run in Sunnyside. 29-year-old Boubacar Berry faces multiple charges, including leaving the scene of a crash resulting in death, motor vehicle failure to yield to pedestrian, and criminal negligent homicide. The incident happened on June 26, just before 3:30 p.m. on 47th Avenue. Police say the teen died at the scene and an 8-year-old girl suffered minor injuries.
In Long Island City, a woman says another woman began punching her out of nowhere, and she was forced to use her umbrella to defend herself.
It's gonna be an ugly duckling for a while, but I think with the enough resting, it's gonna be much better.
Wow, take a look at this woman speaking out to Fox 5 about the random attack that she was a victim of last week. She says that another woman began punching her out of nowhere and she was forced to use her umbrella just to defend herself.
Fox 6's Antoine Lewis talked to her about this frightening experience. He joins us live from Long Island City where that attack happened. Antoine.
Natasha and Bianca, a lot of times these stories involve New Yorkers who don't get involved. Not the case here. This victim survived a vicious attack on the street right behind me, all thanks to the help of a complete and total stranger. 30-year-old Renine Lau and 56-year-old Jerome David had never met until last Wednesday afternoon when he came to her rescue. Lau was leaving this Long Island City Chipotle around 1 when she says this woman, a complete stranger, suddenly started punching her unprovoked.
I was like, okay, I gotta defend myself. So I grabbed my umbrella from my bag. I tried to keep some distance with her, but she took it immediately. She broke it in half, and then she used my umbrella to shove it into my face.
The attack left her with cuts on her forehead and the left side of her face. Lau says the incident happened in broad daylight with passers-by doing just that, until Jerome saw what he thought was a joke.
Miss Lau started screaming, "Help, help," and blood's gushing from her head.
He quickly realized it was not.
The woman started running towards me. I grabbed her and pinned her hand back against the wall. She swung and hit me here at the side of the face. She broke my glass. I didn't realize.
Queens City Council member Julie Wan says the suspect appears to have had mental health issues.
What we're trying to grapple with right now as a city that we're seeing all throughout is the rise in mental health issues and homelessness combined in one. So what we're struggling with is people who have mental instability that are causing these violent crimes that continue to be taken in by the police officers, but then released again.
It's been healing. I thought I'm gonna be an ugly duckling for a while, but I think with the enough resting, it's gonna be much better.
Which Lau understands, but she's also made a new friend to help her through this frightening ordeal.
And I told her, I said, look, the physical scar will go away, but the emotional scar, you have to beat that. You have to conquer that. Don't let it conquer you.
A final postscript, if you will, Natasha, on the two of them. They have since apparently been talking each night. He's been trying to help her calm down, and she's been staying with friends. So a true friendship is forming there. A little bit more about the suspect, because apparently, from what we're hearing, this woman was a lot. Jerome David said he actually had to sit on her after pinning her hands back while he waited for the officers to arrive to take her into custody, which they got on scene, he estimates, about 3 minutes later, very quickly there. We understand also that the authorities have remanded her. She's being remanded in Rikers right now, with another court date coming up sometime in about a week.
And finally, we end in the Mott Haven section of the Bronx, where a routine inspection of an after-hours club turned into a multi-million-dollar cannabis bust.
Sheriff, can you tell me what happened here today? What occurred?
Today we were conducting one of our routine inspections based on community complaints. So we entered the location, and based on what we saw and the observations we made, yeah. It's good. It should be all right.
Yeah.
So listen, today we're responding to community complaints about the illegal sales of marijuana. And this is actually illegal sales, not only the packaging here, it's exactly what we're talking about, packaging toward our children. These are the things that we say should not be distributed in our communities, and this is an illicit product that is not regulated, unregulated product. It means that we don't know what they're mixing it with and what they're selling to the communities right now.
Can you tell me at all what you found in the facility? What types of drugs, what type of narcotics?
We found obviously flour, the cannabis flour. We've found pre-rolls. We also have found the mushroom, the hallucinogenics, candies, chocolates, kids packaging, everything that you can think of in terms of what the illegal market is distributing in our communities. We found at this location. This location takes almost more than half a block in terms of the volume of space that it has back there. It has a social club, it has a usage place, a packaging, distribution, everything is coming out of this one location.
Okay. In comparison to size, I mean, I know it's still early, but in comparison to other busts that may have happened earlier, is this the most sizable that you've seen?
I believe this is the most significant seizure so far, and probably in excess of $10 million of product that we seized.
Is there any idea at this time where these products may have come from? Where
Investigations are still ongoing.
Okay. And lastly, I want to ask, was it just one shop that led to this facility, or was it several shops that...
This is community complaints that led us to this location.
Okay. And lastly, okay, so it was not... Because I heard something earlier about that there might have been one shop that... There was an inspection at one shop that led to basically it's tracking back here?
I'm not aware of that. I'm aware of that. We have received community complaints identifying this as a location that sold illegal narcotics, illegal cannabis, and our inspection team came out to do the inspection here, not only with the Sheriff's Office, the Police Department, and the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection.
And lastly, how long has this operation been going so far, if you give an estimate?
The new operation that we're...
Oh, this one today, yeah.
This one today probably started around 11, 12 o'clock this afternoon.
All right. Anything else you would like to add?
This is, again, we want to make sure the community continues to make the complaints. They're obviously the first people that become aware of these illegal locations. That information is extremely important. We're hearing your complaints, and we're going to take the action that is necessary. It is what the mayor mandated us to do, work collaboratively with all the city agencies to address this problem, and we're going to do that.
That's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.